Slimehouse TV, myself Theo Kane, and welcome to something a little bit different. Now, what I always wanted to do when I set up Slimehouse is not only review cool stuff and showcase things that you might have forgot about, but I also wanted to showcase people that had made a living off of doing cool stuff. People that was able to leave the job and make full-time money from doing what they love, whether that's in the film industry or animation or art or reviewing, just all that cool shit that we love. They made a living out of it. So that's something that I always wanted to showcase on this show. And although I do a lot of toy reviews and things like that, you'll also know, if you've kept up with this since day one or within the past couple of years, whatever, that I also like to interview people and talk to them, and we do a podcast. So first up, let's talk about the podcast, The Lowdown Shelter. That's myself and my brethren, Respect BA. We've been doing that a couple of years, but we've just brought it back. So if you type in The Lowdown Shelter on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can check our latest episode on there. What I also like to do is I like to go to conventions, interview actors, directors, and people in the industry and find out how they got there. Now, at the minute, everything's locked down, so I can't hook up with my crew. There is no conventions to go to. I can't be going out, filming stuff, interviewing people. I'm trapped in my house. We're all trapped in our houses. Unless you're a key worker, shouts to the key workers. Man like me are not a key worker, so I got to stay at home and think, what can I do? What can I create while I'm sat here in my house with very limited resources? And because I'm always trying to bring out cool shit, bring out entertainment for the people that support me and keep up to date with the YouTube channel, even though I don't have that many followers, I don't have nowhere near as many followers as who we've got on today's show, but I wanted to connect with cool people, do a bit of talking, a bit of an interview, and just give your guys something to listen to, and from people that might be able to offer you a bit of advice, people that are really fucking smashing it in their field and making bank and being self-sufficient purely off doing what they love, and people that have done it starting from the ground up. So today we're talking to a dude who I have known for many years. You might know him as Paul Tweedle, you might know him as Definition, but this is the guy that runs the Heavy Spoilers YouTube channel. Now, if you ever typed in Marvel Easter eggs, Marvel Ending Explain, new DC movie breakdown, this is one of the first guys that comes up. Whether it's the Easter eggs, the breakdowns, all that shit, this guy, he went from having 30,000 subscribers this time last year to now having over 200k subscribers, and it's ever growing. Every day this guy gets more and more and more, and he's smashing it. So I'm Theo Kane. Check out my interview right now with Definition from Heavy Spoilers. Boom. And we're joined by Paul from Heavy Spoilers Show. How you doing, buddy? You good?
Yeah, good, man. How are you?
I'm good. So I think a lot of people probably won't even know that me and you were associated or how far we go back or anything like that. But we've known each other years now. I was looking, I think today was like the 11th anniversary when I first met O'Shea and stuff like that.
Right,
and you wasn't far behind that. So we've got to be going on like 10 years now or something like that we've been associated, even though we're both on different stuff now. Well, I suppose now we're on more similar things, isn't it? But yeah, it's been a while, brother. So how you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Yeah, just enjoying the lockdown. Obviously, I tend to work from home anyway, so I've not really noticed much of a difference, except for there's no movies out.
Well, that's it. Do you know what? Yeah, it's like the big thing. And when I said I were going to start doing these like social distancing kind of podcast interview things on the YouTube, I was speaking to a couple of the guys from Slimehouse, and they're like, "Yeah, don't just talk about COVID and lockdown, though." And I'm like, "Do you know what? It's kind of hard to get away from that now. Like, it's the biggest thing in the world. I think this'll go down in history like World War II big. Do you know what I mean? It's something that like will always be referred. So I don't think it's a bad thing to kind of talk about it a bit. And it is like the elephant in the room. I mean, for yourself, like you said, doing YouTube and stuff, how's lockdown treating you personally?
It's been a bit more difficult just because I tend to cover movies and TV shows. But you know, it's kind of forced me to be creative and come up with new ideas and new ways to do content. And I tended in the past to be very like not cutting edge, but new releases, new TV shows. Whereas now I'm actually getting a chance to revisit older things that I never really got the chance to. So I'm going back and kind of going through all the Marvel movies. I did Hereditary the other week. I've just finished a video for The Haunting of Hill House. That's going to be coming out pretty soon. So it's forcing me to be creative, but I know a lot of people in the same boat as me are having difficulty with it because there's just no movies coming out, and we're at a time where this is where you would be starting to really make money on YouTube. And people are just having basically their income stripped away. So they're having to come up with more creative ways to make
We're
money,
having to do like
basically.
ending explained of the new McDonald's advert, just
Yeah,
anything they can fucking get off of.
yeah, exactly.
Well, do you know what? I've, like what you're saying about it's forced you to be creative. I definitely think that because I mean my YouTube channel is nowhere near as established as yours, but it's still something I'm trying to do full time, and it's definitely put me in a position where it's like, right, I'm in my house. What can I film in my house to try and keep stuff relevant? Because most of the slime out stuff is like out and about filming, and then I get toys sent me sponsored by Nema Studios and stuff. Nema Studios, so I do like their unboxing reviews and stuff. But I never wanted to be like a bedroom YouTube guy, but I've kind of it's been forced to be one. So I thought, well, how can I do stuff that's just a little bit different and maybe make stuff that's a bit more rewatchable? Do you know, rather than like just that throwaway content, like yeah, it's me unboxing a new Super 7 figure. I unbox it, you watch it once, then never watch it again. Trying to create something that is a bit of a is it something that you might want to watch 2 or 3 times or go back in a couple of years, like, oh, let me see that review he did again. A bit like I love Angry Video Game Nerd, and I think I've watched him for years. Me and BA watched him like when we was like when I first met him like 11, 12 years ago, and I still go back and watch them reviews that he's done. You know,
Yeah,
just because it's got so much replay value.
yeah, he's really good.
Um,
I really like him.
yeah, he's meant to be a sound guy as well. Him, do you know the dude who
Yeah,
does a battle rap resume? He interviewed him on one of his little podcasts,
all
like a
right.
Metallica exclusive one. He does. Just hit him up, and at this time he's got like hardly any followers. Just hit him up, and he's like, "Will you do a podcast?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I'll do it. Let's talk about Metallica." So he seems like he's quite an approachable dude as well.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I can see it's definitely a time to get more creative. I kind of see it as like if you went to prison, you could either sit there and wallow and complain and moan about it, and every day is going to seem mega long, or you can try and like do something that you'll only ever do within that within the confines of that prison cell. Maybe
Mhm.
write a book, draw, pump weights, whatever it is that you do there, but not like try and come away with something that you wouldn't have had otherwise. Have you found that yourself?
Yeah, definitely. And I have been talking to quite a lot of YouTubers who messaged me asking how things are going and if I'm struggling with it. And I've just said to them, look, it's really you've got an opportunity here. It's going to be make or break basically, and you kind of have to work around that and come up with ideas. You know, try something a little different, and that's what I've kind of done. So I've started revisiting older movies, doing all the Easter eggs in them. And the thing about the Marvel series is a lot of the time when the original Easter egg videos were made, we didn't really have the context of the other movies. So I've kind of revisited things after Endgame and been like, well, this thing that was said here now pays off in Endgame, and it has brought a lot of attention to the channel. I think I've done about 30,000 subscribers this month, and that's which I wouldn't have done if I hadn't thought of that. So it's kind of you've just got to make the lemons into lemonade, basically.
And I've seen it from big and from small channels. Sometimes the most random thing will be the thing that gets the hits. I was looking at some of your videos, just like in a bit of research for this, and I saw one, and it was for like It, and it was like every time you saw It in the It movies, and like that had more hits than more popular Avengers videos and stuff that you'd had on there. So and did you just do a Midsummer one, and that got like a lot of nice hits as well?
Yeah, that's I think that's about to do 1 million. So it is kind of just trying something different that so many people could have done it and they just didn't for some reason. And there is a lot of potential there, and you've just got to really think outside the box a bit. And it's not going to be forever. We're probably going to be out of the lockdown, by the end of the summer at the latest, I would say.
Yeah, I'd
And
like to think, yeah.
yeah, so in all the movies that have been pushed back, they're all, coming towards the end of the year. So it's just going to be a case of making it through this period. And I think it will just really, separate the people who are creative from the people who just blog. I'm very much a believer that there's two kind of YouTubers. There's people who just blog things, and there's people who make videos. And I've always tried to be someone who just makes videos, so you can watch it whenever, and it's more of a show. And that's sort of why I started moving away from being definition and more into the heavy spoilers show. So it kind of transitioned from just being a blog to a video, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I want to talk about first of all, like the origins of where this came from. I've got some stuff that does kind of tail on off on the back of what you just said, but
Yeah.
just while we're in the early stages of what we're talking about here, how did this start? Because I know you've been active on YouTube in some form or another, whether it's like rap or whatever back in the day and stuff. So you've always like had a bit of a YouTube presence, but then all of a sudden this kind of took off. I just wanted you to talk a little bit about, or even a lot. I don't really mind. Like, how deep do you want to go into it
Yeah.
of how you started this? Because it must have been hard from the start if you were like, okay, so first of all, I suppose, is this how you wanted to set out to do your YouTube stuff? And
N-
then if so, like with this, there's so much other competition. I'm going to be 1 second.
yeah,
I'm
sure.
just going to answer my door. I've got an Amazon parcel I've been waiting for. Be 1 second. He's
No
here
bother,
now.
mate.
1 second. I knew that fucker were going to turn up during this fucking interview.
Yeah.
I've just ordered some stuff for a new toy review. I knew just a couple
Right.
of figures I needed to complete a line. So like, I needed them to come. Sorry. So we were saying, yeah, like, was it something you wanted to do it like this from the start, or did it just like happen naturally? And at the same time, when you're covering stuff that's like, I mean, admittedly, there's so many other YouTubes out there doing like videos, Easter eggs, ending explained, or like the big Marvel stuff. Like, how did you even like think? Yeah, man, I'm gonna do this and make it one that stands out
Yeah.
from the rest.
So it's really weird how it started. So I was a website designer for many years, and I used to just build things for people. And one day I was just like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna make my own website, and I'm just gonna put like initially it was supposed to be just a Batman graphic novel review website. So I pretty much own all of the Batman graphic novels, and I was like, you know what? I like reading these. I'm just gonna read through them and review them every day. And then um, I got messaged by a friend of mine who was like, "Well, do you want to come do that at our website?" He's like, "You won't have to build your website yet, and you can just come over and do them there." And I started doing them, but my problem is that I'm like a workaholic, and they were wanting me to do like one a week, and I was doing like two a day.
Really?
And yeah, I had to send them off to get edited by their website editor, and they were just like, yeah, it's getting, you keep sending these through, just take it easy. And I was like, but I don't want to take it easy. So I just ended up doing them on my own website again. And then I thought, well, I'll start doing these in like a video format to make the reviews a bit better. And I started doing that on YouTube. And then Batman v Superman, the extended edition came out, and I watched it, and I thought, oh well, that'll be good to do a review on. And I did it, and then I woke up the next day and it had like 6,000 views or something, which it's not big now, but for the time when I had
No,
about five.
that's fucking awesome. Was that like your first video that you did? Was this a YouTube channel that you'd already had,
Um,
or what?
yeah, it was just one I'd had for ages. It was just my definition YouTube channel, and it wasn't the first one I did. I think I did just some Batman graphic novel reviews, but that's the one that really kind of took off. And then I thought, yeah, that this is worth doing. And this was before you had to get a thousand subscribers to get approved for monetization.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think I made about £30 on it, which not a massive amount of money, but it was something that, well, if I could do one of these a day, that like on the side, that would be like a good little side hustle. And
Yeah, of
then
course it would.
I was working from home, being a website designer for a company, and when you work from home, you have, I'm sure, as many people have realized now, you have a lot of extra free time because you're not traveling. So I'd get up about 6:30 every morning, do a video, go to work, do my 9 to 5, and then finish at 5 and do another video. And I just got into this habit, and it's just really snowballed from there. And I did notice that I was initially doing reviews, but then the autopsy of Jane Doe came out, and I hadn't really seen many people talking about it. So I thought, well, I'll do a spoiler review and try and talk about the ending. And that one got like 30,000 views, I think. And it was like, right, well, this is kind of the direction that I should be heading in, where I
So,
do more.
were this traffic that were coming from the existing subscribers? Like, how many was on there, or was it just like all people
Yeah, it
just
was
finding it
just
on YouTube?
500. I mean, I still treat my channel now like I don't have any subscribers. I think the best way to attack YouTube is to just appear at the top of the search. So no matter what you search, if I've done a video on it, I do tend to rank quite highly, and that's just because when I was a website designer, I had sort of an insight on SEO and how to rank things quite well. So I would always just do my videos in the same way. And over time, if you keep ranking at the top, if people keep searching for you, they start recognizing your channel. And if you do a good job, they'll stick around and subscribe. And that's kind of how it's all just taken off, really. I don't even know how many subscribers I'm on at the moment. I'll have a quick look.
Yeah, I
So
think you're on at least a couple hundred. I looked last night and it were like 250,000, maybe even more than that now.
it's 235,000. So not that good yet, but it's all just kind of snowballing, and it got to a point where it was basically making more money than my full-time job. So I was like, oh, I should really just, I'm at a good age where I can just dive into this. And if it doesn't work out, then, it's not the end of the world and I can go back to work and no problem.
But it has hit the ground running, hasn't it? And I mean, I,
Yeah.
I remember seeing like some like your first videos to now, like there's a massive progression, which there always is when you're doing anything and you're doing it constantly all the time. Like you do
Yeah.
find your feet with stuff and things like that. Do you know what? One of the things that's never held you back, which is a mad thing, because I find that it does hold people back, is your accent. You're like me. You got like you got a strong regional accent from where you're
Yeah.
from. Do you know like when we made our movie Unit 11, I got it sent to so many. I think I got it sent to like between like 9, 12 different festivals around the world, and like
Mhm.
literally every single one of them come back from the programmer, and they were like either, yeah, it's very impressive, but we don't know how to package it because it's not a horror film, but then it's like it's not like an 80s throwback because it's not like silly or dorky, so it's kind of like serious and deep, but then it isn't, and it's hard to package. So that were fair enough. And then the other one were like the accents are too hard to understand, and I'm like,
Yeah.
which accent? And they're like all of them, and I'm like, well, you've got people like Mark Grist that are really well spoken. You got Ice Pickles really scouse. You've got us that are northern, and they're just like, yeah, it's hard to package when something's got that much of an accent. Do you find on YouTube that that's not really a thing?
I do get the occasional correction, like, but I kind of take it on board. Like, it's just muscle memory for me. I used to say, so I'd say, so this person says, and I get so many corrections where they go, actually, it says, it should be pronounced says. So now I just automatically, as I'm reading it, I go, and Jimmy says, and it's just kind of adapting to that and weeding out what people find problems with. But I haven't had that much of a problem with it overall, I would say. I don't know. I think about 60% of my subscribers are American, so I don't know what it is. I just think it kind of. I really don't know.
It's not held you back anyway. I
Yeah,
mean, like when it comes to accent stuff, because us in Sheffield and in the north of England and stuff, we won't say "I'm going to the shop." We'll go "I'm going to shop." I'm
yeah,
going to shop. That's just how they talk. But I have to like kind of learn that out. And in my more recent videos, I've tried to script them a little bit more
yeah,
and try it, because I mean I talk really fast anyway. I'm a fast talker, and and I use a lot of slang, and I've got my regional accent and stuff. And some of my more recent videos, like my mate, he's the dude in Unit 11 with the mohawk slacker. He rang me the other day and he's like, I don't like that new review you've done. I'm like, why? He goes, it sounds right scripted, you talk right slow, it don't sound like you. I'm like, yeah, but brother, look at the people that's commenting on my stuff. They're like, greetings from Mexico, greetings from France. I'm like, I'm not making this for
yeah,
the 5 people that live in my area that talk like me. And he's like, yeah, I understand. You just have to kind of, I find you've got to slow yourself down a little bit and just talk a
yeah.
little bit clearer without like completely losing all integrity and putting on a fucking accent.
Yeah, well, scripting does help quite a lot,
Yeah.
and that kind of keeps. I've always scripted my videos, and well, I didn't always do it. I didn't initially in the start, but since scripting them, I have noticed a massive takeoff on them. And yeah, I would. YouTube's just basically trial and error. There's still things I haven't figured out, and will take me a long time to figure out. And if you watch my earlier videos, compare them to my latest ones, there's a massive difference in quality. And hopefully that quality keeps growing. And it is constantly just trial and error, putting things out, seeing what response you get, whether you like it as well. It is always good to be your own biggest critic. Um, and kind of see, where things work, where they don't. And eventually you will refine yourself, and you will start growing. And it's just a case of putting the work in, putting the hours in, to get to a point where people just like your stuff.
Well, that's thinking it. I mean, there is no, as much as there is a formula. At the same time, there's no formula as well. I really find that, and something is like I speak to people all the time. They're like, "Oh, I'm thinking of setting up a YouTube channel to
Yeah.
try and get some money in and that," and I'm just like, or they'll do it for like, I don't know, a month. I find people do it for a
Yeah.
month, 2 months, 3 months, and then they just stop uploading. And I'll message them like, "Oh, what happened to your videos, man? They were doing all right." And they're like, "Oh, weren't really getting traction I want." And I'm like, "Yo, bro, do you realize you've got to do this all the fucking
Yeah.
time? Like it's non-stop. I have to do something, whether it's a video or it's a bit of artwork or something, or a bit of a bit of editing on something else. I can't sleep me unless I feel like I've progressed
Yeah,
a
I'm
little bit
exactly the
that day.
same. Yeah.
I just can't do it. Like, and it beats me up. But that's like you're saying, you've got to be your own worst critic, and then you've got to be a workaholic as well. Because the thing is, I always, I mean, I used to find this when we were doing the rap stuff, when we were writing and stuff, and I just felt like any day that I don't write might be the day that the other person writes the best thing in the performance. So like you've got to like be so on it. You've got to really like torture yourself, I think,
Yeah,
just
100%.
to try and be on this all the time. And a lot of people they
They don't
just
get it.
don't get that, and I think that's
Yeah.
why a lot of channels don't progress. So with my stuff, I know it is early days. I've had my channel now I've had it about 4 years. I've only been consistently uploading about a year, and even that was like not every week. It was like when I got something through. So I'm trying to do now like 2 videos a week, 1 video a week, and make them of like a certain quality. And I'm just starting to see like a viewer base. I won't call them fan base, but like a viewer base of people like outside my normal circle, like random people. Do
Yeah.
you often find people drop you a message and they're like, "Oh, I randomly found your video and I watched everything that you did. I went back and looked at everything."
Yeah, quite a lot. I've got a really good support network, to be honest. I get so many people messaging me, asking for either advice or just saying they love the stuff. And it all takes time. And I honestly, I get a message about once a week from someone who's saying, "I'm starting a YouTube channel. Can you give me advice?" And they think that there's shortcuts you can take and things you can do to really jump ahead. And there's not. It is just about putting the hours in and refining your craft, and treating it like an obsession. It's always something that you need to constantly be doing. And a lot of people, I think they just think it's very easy. you know
Yeah, yeah,
anyone can turn a microphone on and record their thoughts on a film, but what elevates you are things like your thumbnails. You have to have graphic design skills. You have to have SEO skills so you rank higher. You have to have an understanding of what people want to watch so you can choose the correct topics. Because there will be things that you do a video on that you think, oh, this is going to do really well, and people just don't watch it. And over time, I've really gained a kind of knowledge of what an audience wants to see. So there just are certain things that I won't cover, even though I would like to, but they're just not worth putting the time in when I could put
yeah.
the time into
It's
something else. And you've got to have all these skills that kind of come together, and you're not going to get them instantly. You look at my older videos, I sucked at editing. My voiceover was terrible, and my thumbnails weren't very good. But because I've put the hours in and I've done it so many times, I've just naturally got this understanding now of what works and what doesn't. And that knowledge is only going to come from you putting in 10,000 hours of work. And
Yeah,
a
yeah, it's
lot of
just about trial and error graft, seeing what goes wrong, and then
yeah,
so it don't go wrong next time.
and a lot of people just expect to turn a microphone on, upload a video, and for it to get a million views. And it's not the case. And there's so many people that are competing against you doing the exact same thing, that you really have to put the hours in. It's not. It's worth it. I can tell you firsthand, it's worth it once you get to the point that my channel's at. I feel incredible the amount of support that I have, and the amount that it's changed my lifestyle. But it's been a very long, hard road. Like I said, I was getting up 6:30, doing a video,
Yeah, graft,
working,
man,
yeah,
graft,
9 to 5.
up early.
Then sometimes some nights we would go to the cinema after I finished work, and would get back about 8 o'clock, and I'd be working from 8 p.m. till 3 in the morning just to get a video out first before anyone else. And then I'd be back up the next day. I don't have to do that now, but there was a good 2 years of having to do that, and it is worth it. But that is what separates people from, like you said, starting a YouTube channel and then 3 months later they're not doing it anymore. And the people who've made careers out of it, you really have to just be dedicated. It's an obsession, and you have to if you want it to be a job, you have to treat it like a job.
Yeah, you got to
That's what
play
I
the
would say.
game a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you know? Just explain the SEO thing for anyone that don't really understand what that is.
Okay, so SEO is basically what you write as a title for your video, what you write in the description, and what your tags are. Now, some videos I go on, they'll just put like Gemini Man review. Right. That's fine, but that is one thing that people are going to search for. So the way I write things are like Gemini Man and an explained breakdown plus spoiler talk review. So Gemini Man, I'm going to hit if people search for that. Gemini Man review, I'm going to hit if people search for that. Gemini Man and an explain, I'm going to pop up if people search for that. Gemini Man breakdown, yeah. Gemini Man spoilers. So that is in my title alone. I'm going to appear on a lot of people's searches just for having that as my title. Whereas Gemini Man review is going to pop up for Gemini Man and Gemini Man review. So already I've got a bigger net than people who are just writing that. Then in the description, you want a basic. What I do in my description is I pretty much put the script for my video in that. So YouTube will scan that. It'll see, right, he's mentioned Gemini. Basically, the way that Google works is it doesn't know what a website is or a video is unless the person who's uploaded it tells it. So the more information you give Google or YouTube to tell what your video or website is about, the better it's going to, if someone searches Gemini Man, what what are they going to recommend? Are they going to recommend the video at the top that has Gemini Man mentioned once, or are they going to mention it, put the one at the top that has Gemini Man in the description 10 times and it mentions Will Smith and it. So you basically, by putting the script as my description, I'm giving YouTube more information to rank my video with. So they all of a sudden understand, well, this guy who has clearly made this video about Gemini Man. When someone searches Gemini Man, this will be what pops up. I don't know why I've chosen Gemini Man as an example, but that is a video that I don't know why. Yeah, there's people who will just upload a video with a very small title, 5-line description, and think, "Oh, I'm gonna rank here." You're not, because I'm doing a longer title with a massive description that is telling YouTube exactly what my video is about. YouTube, if you don't give YouTube that information, it's not going to be, it's not, it might say, well, this could be about Gemini Man, but it's not really specified because he's not given us enough information. So, yeah, fill out your descriptions, fill out your titles and your tags as well. Your tags should always be relevant. I see some people who just use the same tags over and over for every single video, and your tags really need to be focused on what your video is on that specific topic.
Well, it sounds like the description's just as important as the tag, and I think a lot of people think, yeah, well, I'll just put my tags in. It don't really matter what I write in description. I've been that guy before when I was first learning this stuff, but
Yeah,
it's not, is it? I suppose they just act just like a tag, don't they? The description.
yeah, and you get 5,000 characters in your description, so use them all, because if you can tell YouTube what your video is when people search for that video, it's going to say, well, I definitely know that. YouTube basically wants to give as accurate results to the viewer that it can. It doesn't want someone to search for Gemini Man and for the top listing to be The Dark Knight. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
more information you can give YouTube on what your video is about in the description, in the title, in the tags, the higher you're going to rank. And that's another thing people don't get, and it takes a lot of work again, and it's just about putting this work in.
I suppose the actual videos now is probably pretty low maintenance for you, isn't it? It's a case of recording. You ain't gonna record your face. I've recorded a whole review before, looked, and then I've got fucking beans down my top, and I've had to redo it.
Yeah,
Like, at least you're already dealing with the audio side. You've got like some really nice flashy graphics, but I can tell you your script. It's not just thrown out there. You've like meticulously crafted that, so you've got rid of all the fluff, but it's still entertaining, and it don't feel like it's rushed.
yeah, exactly. And I used to do camera videos, and I just, it was too much. There was too much maintenance before doing it, and I used to always try and be the first person out with a review. and when you're having to mess about doing your hair and making sure the lighting's right, it just slows everything down.
Yeah, no, I know about that shit.
Yeah,
Well, that's another one. Like recently, I did a review that was pretty much all audio, and I filmed it all. Like I filmed close up shots and stuff of the toys, but it was like then like a script that I read off, and it was so much easier to do because anything that I didn't say right, I could just punch in and then blend it and make it sound like it was all done in one take and things.
yeah, and me and Bamalam talk about this quite a lot. There's a lot of people on YouTube that we call one take Jakes that always make mistakes, and it's people who just turn a microphone on, ramble into it, and they don't go back and correct themselves, and
Yeah.
they'll put it in the video, and that's an area where people just aren't going to subscribe because they think, oh well, this guy's made a mistake. That they're always
Yeah, I
going to.
mean, you've got to be a pretty charismatic, cool guy to like build to people to enjoy watching your mistakes. Oh, I love it when he fucks his lines up. He makes me laugh, man. I like
Yeah,
to watch this guy.
and it can work in rare occasions, but on
Yeah,
the
yeah, it can.
whole, it's just, yeah. You probably, if you're starting out as well, yeah, if you haven't got a built-in audience yet and you're messing about and making loads of mistakes, people are just going to think this guy's an idiot. Whereas it's just, yeah, it's just about putting the work in, and don't expect to become a YouTube star overnight. It took me 2 years to even get 1,000 subscribers, and I actually checked today on Time Hop, and I got 30,000 subscribers this time last year, and so I'm
Oh,
on
so it's
200.
flown up in a year.
Yeah, so I've done about 200,000 in the last year, but that is the 4 years prior to that, where it was figuring out things that worked, figuring out things that didn't, figuring out YouTube itself,
Yeah, yeah.
and just
Takes a
kind of,
while, man.
yeah, and don't expect, if you're starting a YouTube channel, it will be worth it if you stick with it. And the thing is, when you're first starting out, that there'll be 500 other people that day that are starting their own YouTube channel. Now, what's going to get you from the position of just starting out to, say, getting 500,000 subscribers is because you stuck with it. Those other people that made that channel that day, they're probably not going to stick with it. So if you can just outlast them, you'll get out. You'll get past those first 600 people that made the channel the same day as you, and it's just about sticking with it. And a lot of people give up halfway through, which is a shame, but it's kind of what separates the people who make it from the people that don't. The people that do make it went through all the same crap that you did, having days where their
Yeah,
videos just bombed, but they made it because they stuck with it. The competition basically didn't, and that's happened with me.
yeah,
There was tons of people I was competing with when I first started out that aren't here now, because at some point I outlasted them and they gave up, and all of a sudden I just got their audience, um because I was still doing videos when they weren't. And it is it's a marathon, not a sprint. You've just really got to outlast people.
it's a constant graft. I was just saying about like I feel like when anyone listens to like a podcast or an interview or anything with anyone that's big, the story is often, oh yeah, I just uploaded a song on my SoundCloud. I woke up next day and it had got 10 million streams, and it's like, yeah, they do happen on rare occasions, but it's not often. You have to be on this constantly. Do you know what else I find as well? Like I mean, even my audience is only small, but people like hollering me to share stuff like, oh, can you give this a share? Can you give
Yeah.
that a share? Like it's gonna make a difference to them overnight. Like I got shared by Robert Rodriguez on one of my pieces of artwork. He got
Mhm.
fucking hundreds of thousands of shares and likes. I think I got 7 followers on my Instagram from it. Like, he don't mind, does it? People follow their guy, but they don't just follow anyone that guy puts that guy talks about.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, you don't want to, basically you want to build yourself as well. And you know what, that there were days where I was just exhausted. I remember over Comic-Con I did 4 videos in a day, and that on top of my job, I was just absolutely exhausted, and I just felt like giving up, and I didn't. And that, some people would have broken from that, and the fact that I didn't, kind of, I'm so glad that I didn't give up. And there
Yeah,
has been times like that where you do feel like giving up, but if your competition are also going through that, every single person who's made it has probably went through that at some point. So stick with it, kids. you can do it.
That's it. Even the big guys, I see like some of the big guys I follow. They'll I don't know. They'll put out a video. They're like, oh, I don't really like doing these videos because they don't really get that many views, and they've still got like 200K on the video. And
Yeah,
I think that people who are like just genuinely ambitious and self critical and stuff. They just want to be hitting them numbers every time. So even if they have one that's 100K less than the other one, but it's still 500K, they're still a bit like, oh, that one did a bit shit. I
yeah,
need to make sure. It is like a disease. It's like an illness, and it's like a thing that you'll always have. And I think you probably take it to the grave that you'll always have that about you that wants to fucking strive and push, even when you're doing good and you don't really see the success, even
yeah,
when it's happening a lot of the time. So I think it's important to make sure like you've been doing then, and just acknowledge it when it is going good. You know what I mean? Even if you're like, yeah, well, ideally I want 1 million subscribers. It's like, yeah, man, but just you're doing well. Do you know what I mean? You're absolutely killing it. As this took a lot of your a lot away from you as a fan because like when I went to see
yeah,
I got to see Avengers. I've got headphones in. I will kill anyone that spoils it. Like that's how deep I'll go prison for the fucking Avengers. Me, so I'm walking into the cinema with headphones in, head down, like not listening to anyone's conversation because I've got like the second screening of the day, so there's
yeah.
already a bunch of people that's seen it. But I suppose like even if you can't get to the cinema straight away, you've got to be straight on them forums looking at spoilers and stuff, writing your script. Has it took anything away from you as a fan?
Yeah, definitely. So Infinity War was the last big movie that I really wanted to see that I didn't spoil for myself. And I wasn't going to spoil Avengers Endgame. I was going to wait till the cinema, but then the leaks came out, and I was like, "Oh, I've got to
Horrible.
cover these leaks." And I got 1.5 million views on it, but it really did take away from the experience
Course it
because
does. Nothing hits. I always said to like people when they go, "Oh, why'd you have to go to first day?" I'm like, "Because you don't understand. You know, like when you're in the cinema and something, for example, like when Caps got Thor's hammer, like that in cinema when you see that for the
yeah,
first time, you're not expecting it. You're like, fuck! It's the best thing ever. Like,
yeah,
and you'll never have that experience ever again. Every single time, even though when you watch it again, I watched it again recently. I loved it
yeah.
even more than when I watched it in cinema. But it was I knew what was coming, and that's why I was watching it excited, like, oh fucking hell, the portals are about to open. But when I watched it in cinema, I didn't. When you experience that stuff for the first time, I don't think anything compares to it.
Yeah, and I actually saw that on YouTube the week before. I don't know what it was.
No,
Someone did a must have got an early screening, and they put so much of the movie up on YouTube. So they put Tony Stark's death on. They put
no.
Captain America catching Mjolnir. They put Fat Thor. Smart Hulk was on, and I watched it. I covered it all, but deep down, I was like, "Oh, I've kind of sold my soul here and stripped the movie of any enjoyment." It was the
Yeah,
same
because
with
not only yeah,
The Rise of Skywalker as well. That the entire movie leaked about a month before it was in the
did it
cinema.
really?
Yeah, so if you go back and watch my leak videos of like Avengers Endgame and The Rise of Skywalker, they're pretty much all bang on, and I had most of the movie ruined for me in both occasions. But that's the
Fucking
price
hell.
you've
Or
got
do you
to
know what?
pay.
It makes me fucking feel dead inside just hearing it, and it weren't even me that saw that saw it early.
Yeah,
It's horrible, man. Because I live for that shit. Some of that stuff, it's literally like especially the Marvel movies. I've been a fan of this Marvel shit since before most people even cared about it. Like when I was in school, I was so into like Lucio Fulci zombie films and Star Wars
yeah,
and Marvel, and now they're like the zombies, Marvel and Star Wars, are like the biggest thing in the world. But when I was in school, they really fucking wasn't. So I've loved this shit so long,
yeah,
and I had to endure all the shitty Silver Surfer, Fantastic Four
yeah,
movies, and seeing Daredevil in cinema and all this stuff, like really wanting that Avengers like kind of world then, and like we've got it now, and it means so much to me, man. If I saw that as spoilers, it'd ruin me, man. It really
yeah.
would.
And I know what it's like to have things ruined because I remember vividly remember searching for Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain,
All
and
right.
I don't know if I want to be spoiling it, but there's a big twist at the end of the game, and I actually went on a review and I read what the twist was in the comments before playing it, and it just devastated me.
Even and when it's a comment as well, at least when you watch the little clips, you actually watched them, so you was kind of experiencing it, albeit on your
Yeah,
own in your bedroom or through YouTube and a shitty cam, you were still experiencing it. But just reading it, I've fully fell out with people before. I remember when Infinity War dropped. Like it
Mhm.
had been out of date, and someone on my Facebook like just letting everyone know this happens, this person dies, haha, lol, and I was like, you dickhead. I'm like, if
Yeah,
you'd have done that to my face, we'd have been swinging because like
yeah,
this shit means so much to me. Like you are a proper dickhead for that. What do you gain from it? Like I hate that shit, man, so much.
yeah. I had Han Solo getting killed spoiled for me on Facebook,
Oh,
and
fuck
it
my
just sucks.
life, man.
So now when I do videos, I try and just make as generic a thumbnail as possible because it is
Yeah, even a
unfair on
thumbnail
people.
can ruin everything. Or you'd have
Yeah,
to see his cap holding the fucking hammer, wouldn't you? And you'd be like, no, just
yeah.
from a thumbnail.
And but sometimes I think people take spoilers too far, people kicking off about them because I remember my Endgame video. So the title was no. So I was talking about Endgame in my review, and I basically said that there wasn't a post credit scene, and I got so many people angry about it, and it was like, but I don't know what I could have said. So sometimes think people get annoyed, but I think a lot of studios also bank on spoilers, and Marvel are brilliant at it. You know that things are going to get spoiled, so you go first day, and it's kind of studios kind of want that almost in the air because if things weren't getting ruined, then you'd be like, oh well, I'll see it when I've got the time. But now you're making time to go and see movies. You're taking days off work to go to the cinema,
Well,
and
there is definitely the urgency there. I always said it because I will when I used to work normal jobs. Obviously, I work for myself now, but when I used to work normal jobs, I will literally like, yo, if my work didn't let me have Avengers off, I'll quit my job.
yeah,
Like that's how much it means to me. And I suppose that because there is the urgency of people gonna leak shit, like it makes you, yo, I've got to see this day one. I've got to see it day one.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's gonna get spoiled. Do you know like when I'm watching a series? It could be a series that's like I don't know 5, 6 years old, but I just never got around to seeing it. I'll be watching it and then I see someone. I'm like, what's the actress from? It's doing my head in what she's from. Let me just have a look on IMDb. Then I'm like, no, because it might say she's only in 2 seasons. Then I know she dies. That's how bad I am with spoilers.
yeah. That's fair enough. You're probably I'm probably your worst enemy then, but
No, I don't watch a video from a guy called Heavy Spoilers when it says spoilers, Black Panther 2 spoilers in the I'm not going to watch it. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? I don't mind rumors when it's a rumor, but then at the same time, sometimes the rumors are sick and then it doesn't happen. So that pisses
yeah.
me off as
I
well.
get that a lot. Sometimes you get sent plot leaks, and you're like, this is so good, and then it doesn't actually happen. There was a big one in Westworld recently that they kind of just said something was happening in one of the leaks, and it didn't turn out to be true, but it was so much better than what we got.
Yeah, that you get them, or you get them like. Well, I think a lot of time they fan theories. You know who's a bastard for it and all. Do you know the Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin show, Fat Man on
Yeah,
Batman, Batman Beyond? Now, like he'll be like, oh yeah, this movie came out and I watched it, but it'd been so much better if this happened. And you're like, oh my god, it would have been fuck. Why
yeah,
did they do that? You've ruined the movie now because
yeah,
I thought it was pretty sick, and then you've just said that, and it would just be so much better. So
yeah.
yeah, I do get that shit. I mean, obviously with lockdown now, you're not going to the cinema, have you? But I bet you was like a frequent goer. I bet you're more frequent than me, and I go like at least like once, twice a week.
Yeah, 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 3 times a week. Yeah, I just go. I was going as many times as I could, really. And then when I left my job as well, I was, get could go whenever I want. So
Mm.
that was awesome. But at the moment, it's just the. And I actually found I was gutted because I found a cinema that I could actually walk to. That did lots of early screenings as well. And this was just before the lockdown, and I had tickets for Black Widow, Casino Royale, and A Quiet Place too. Yeah, and I was so looking forward to just walking out the house and being able to walk there because normally it's quite a trek. So yeah, bit gutted. Lockdown
You'll be able
sucks.
to see him. It'll just be this time next year now, won't it? They're holding
Yeah,
everything
pretty
back.
much. Yeah,
It's
which
gonna take a big movie in it to get everyone back in cinema. But I'll be there. Like if do you know what? I'll catch Corona for some Marvel. Me, I will. I
yeah,
will. It means that much to me. Literally, if I mean, it's going to take like some big announcement or something to put together to get people back in seats. I was proper looking forward to King Kong versus Godzilla. Like at any point that trailer
yeah,
was going to drop, they started a bit of the branding for it, and I'm so on that shit. You know me, I love some Godzilla and Kong,
yeah,
and that again, it's all getting held back in it. Everything's getting held back.
yeah, and that's been pushed back twice now. I think as well. I think Wonder
Yeah, it
Woman
has.
was meant to release last in February. I think Wonder Woman was meant to come out, and that's been pushed back, and then it's been obviously been pushed back again. And it kind of sucks that we could have seen all these things by now, but we're gonna
No,
have to
can't
wait.
wait for that New Mutants, man. I've been waiting for that shit.
5 years.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what? They could set you. Oh, we're pushing it back another year. You're like, yeah, no, fine. Don't worry about
It's
it.
like Duke Nukem Forever, isn't it? Where they just keep delaying it because it was 2016 it got announced, and I think it was for 2017. Then it got pushed back, and then the Disney Fox merger happened. So you were like, oh, it's never going to get released. And then they gave it a release date, and then the coronavirus happened, and they announced all the delays, but it's not been announced with the delays, so we don't know when the hell it's coming out.
Macy Williams about 10 in it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's
I
gonna be
think that
really weird.
they've kind of just got to drop that on Disney Plus, haven't they, now? It's getting to a point where it's like, look,
Yeah,
it's not going to put people in seats to watch that. It's even the most like general viewer now knows that this if something's Marvel and if it's not, do you know what I mean? And although it's
yeah.
Marvel based on the comics, they know when it's MCU and when it's not, and that's why Sony had to jump on this shit. Like when they dropped the trailer for Morbius. And
Mhm.
even me as a comic fan, I'm like, Morbius is a movie, really? Is that like
Yeah.
that going to be a movie that I want to see? Like, I know Morbius, I know
As
Michael
soon as
Morbius.
you
Like,
watch the trailer and see Michael Keaton, you're like,
yeah,
"Oh,
it sells it
shit!"
all the
Yeah.
way through it. I was like, oh well, yeah, it's whatever, innit? And then you see him, and you're like, oh shit, son, and I'm there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm there, day one, brother, day one, just
Yeah.
because it's in there. And I mean, that's me who's like, oh, die for this shit. But I think even the most average viewer now knows when something's MCU and when it's just like trying to cash in on the MCU thing. I think Venom was the last one to do it, weren't it? And that's because it's Venom. But even then, most people were like, yeah, it's cool, it's Venom, I like Venom, but it should have had Spider-Man in it, or it should have
Yeah.
been connected in some way.
Well, X-Men Dark Phoenix bombed, didn't it? And that was,
Yeah.
like, the X-Men franchise, that was massive at one point.
Mhm. Yeah, it
I
were.
preferred that over the Marvel Studios films at one point, to be honest, and to see their final entry bomb, it's like, yeah, Marvel clearly they own this stuff, and even characters within the Marvel universe that aren't connected to Marvel Studios, they don't do as well. It's really weird, but
Yeah, I think Deadpool's the only one that like that does his thing in it. I mean, I'm not really a fan of them movies at all. And
yeah,
growing up, Deadpool was like my favorite, one of my favorite Marvel characters. When he was still crazy, but he was still scary. And when he
yeah,
turned up in the comic or the cartoon, you're like, oh fuck me, it's on now because this guy'll do anything. He don't give a fuck. He's genuinely nuts. And then the films just turned him into like a meme, and them whole films are just like one long meme. They're like silly, it's fart jokes and ass
yeah,
jokes and just dumb shit. And yeah, it's a shit. And I can't ever see that character being slipped into the MCU and it working with it in the version that they've got him as now.
yeah. It would have to be so fourth wall breaking. Me and Bamalam did a video on how we think it could be done, but it would just be really weird. I think it would
It
break
would,
the
it
tone a
would
bit.
definitely. I think he. Don't get me wrong. Fucking hell, Ragnarok and shit has got like a talking rock man and that little meek grub alien in a mecha suit, and it works. So I mean, you can get away with silly, you can get away with out there and outlandish and crazy,
Yeah,
but yeah, he. I think it's just the humor that's so. I feel that like he drops f bombs. I mean, he's very fucking critical for me to say that pot calling the kettle black. So I said fuck every other word, but like I feel like he says it unnecessarily in them films, like for no reason. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
He feels off when he says it. It's like you don't need that. You don't need to see him exploding skulls every 2 seconds. Like if the film's good enough, it doesn't need to have a drop of blood and it can still be awesome. No, I find a lot of times nowadays people will be like, and literally you'll know this because you see on the forums, anytime they'll be like, oh, there's gonna be a Ghost Rider movie. So many comments will be like, gotta be R rated,
yeah.
gotta
Gotta
be
be
R
R
rated.
rated. Yeah,
I'm like, bro, I have never read a Golden Age Marvel comic that was R rated.
yeah,
When I first read Punisher and that, yeah, it was raw. He got all his family killed. Yeah, Ghost Rider is an instrument of hell. But there was all created in a time when the comics code was huge and like you couldn't have a drop of blood and they were still fucking killing it. So like,
yeah,
if it's a very like ignorant thing when people are like, oh, it's got to be R rated. Or Punisher might be in the new Marvel movies. Oh, it's got to be R rated. It doesn't have to be R rated. Like, no, when Ronan turns up in Endgame, like
yeah,
it's a visceral enough scene. He murks a couple of guys. You don't need to see blood splatting everywhere. Do you know what I mean, it's people nowadays with this R rated thing wind me up.
yeah. And yeah, like the Dark Knight, that's not R rated, and it's a violent film. That is, it's got
That fight scene in Batman Superman that everyone talks about in the warehouse, he's fucking gnarly. It don't need to be R rated. You can still have a
yeah,
dude fucking guys up and shooting them and chucking them downstairs and hanging them off hooks and stuff. And it don't need to be. I don't get me wrong. When I watched the Punisher series, I think the fucking effects and the blood is dope. But I would sacrifice that for the sake of having him interlinked with the other characters and
yeah,
done so it all feels. I wouldn't want Avengers I don't know, Avengers 3, 4, whatever you want to call it, the next Avengers, Punisher turns up and he starts exploding people's heads with grenades. Like, I don't need to see that. He's going to feel off. It's not going to feel like it works. And I feel like that when he's dropping these F bombs and fuck this, fuck that, shit this, shit that, ass, cock, fucking fart joke. It's like watching South Park, and it's like I like South Park, but I don't want South Park when I watch Avengers.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I quite actually like Deadpool 2 better than Deadpool 1 because it kind of toned it back, I felt, but
It
I
did
don't know
tone
if
it
that's
back a
just
bit,
me.
I mean, don't get me wrong. When it comes to like the look of like comic characters and stuff, they're nailing it. But I think that's just like a given now. See, as well as a Marvel fan, I mean, I don't know if you've been on this from day one, haven't you? You've always been into this shit. I remember
Yeah,
us buying Transformers hoodies years ago and shit. You've always been on that nerd shit. I swear it's not even nerd shit. It's just pop culture now. It's not even nerd shit. Like
yeah,
you're a nerd if you don't watch it. Like you don't watch Spider Man, freak. Like I feel that we had to endure all those X-Men movies where everyone just wore black Matrix outfits. Daredevil wore like a dark leather outfit that was so dark, almost black. Like people didn't really rock. We never saw Wolverine once in a dope outfit. If that was made now, you're gonna see him in his full yellow and blue or whatever, brown and yellow. They're gonna make it work. So I don't think by a lot of the argument always is, oh yeah, but his costume looks sick. I'm like, it's 2020's costume should look sick. We've done all their movies where people wear like a little tight black non-discreet thing, but yet it's Rogue, yet it's Cyclops and stuff. Do you know what I mean? I feel
yeah,
like a sick outfit now is a given. They all have sick outfits.
yeah, definitely. Uh,
They've done that a lot though, haven't they? Do you know when like helmets and stuff now? Like it's never a real helmet. It's just like a little
like a
nanobot helmet
CGI
that grows
thing,
on the head.
yeah, it just
That's starting
pops
to
on
be
and
a big
off.
thing now.
Yeah, I don't really like it that much, to be honest.
I think it works, just not for everyone. Like Star Lord, it works. He's a space pirate. He's got space technology, but you don't want it on
Like Spider
everything.
Man's got it. I don't. Yeah, I'm not
He's
a big
nanotech.
fan
I
of
think
it
it looks
working on
dope,
that.
but it does feel like you just watch. Like if you was on them movie sets, as fucking incredible as they would be, literally everyone just stood around in like tight outfits with dots on them in it. Like there's no
Yeah, it
actual
must
like
be so
outfits
hard to
anymore.
act on it. Yeah, just because you don't have a clue what you're playing off against. It's just like being stuck in your room and being like, give an emotional performance now.
Yeah,
Must be
acts
really
like your
difficult for them.
uncle's been shot in front of you. Go.
Yeah,
Yeah, you've got to be a dope actor. But this has helped a lot. You've seen the technology on the Mandalorian. We was talking about it on the last podcast.
yes, really, really good. Yeah,
Crazy, isn't it?
s-
It's crazy.
yeah,
Like a giant projector, like curved fucking IMAX screen, isn't it? But they can like live edit it there and
yeah,
you
and
can film it straight up, and it looks like
it
actual scenery.
yeah, tracks the backgrounds and everything. And I had no idea that was. For some reason, I just took the Mandalorian as not being that much CGI and being all practical sets,
Yeah, yeah.
but it just looks incredible. And
It's
it's
the perfect blend. It's
yeah,
gonna change if they can keep that going. Like it'll change the world. I watch one and it's like, yeah, man, we were filming a sunset for 10 hours because
yeah,
you just can now.
yeah, exactly. And I do kind of when I go back to some of the older Marvel movies, you can sort of see the green screen in some of them. I
Yeah, you
think
can. You can.
on the Winter Soldier, there's a bit where Cap chases after the Winter Soldier and he throws the shield at him on a rooftop and he turns around and catches it. And
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know
classic
why, it
shot.
just looks so bad. And there's bits in the airport scene in Civil War where I think it's like Iron Man's head's kind of just floating about when he's talking to them.
I
And it
find that a lot with Iron Man when he's talking with his suit on.
yeah,
It feels like his head's like floating. I find no when Pepper lands in Endgame,
yeah,
she lands and she looks up. I always think that like the face looks a little bit big, and I can't do CGI. Do you know what I mean? I'm not here to fucking critique or judge, but you can still. We're still at a point where CG is still to me has to be like the final option. If you can do other stuff
yeah,
and you can build like a, I mean, the background is CG. I always thought CG works good when it's not in organic form. When you've got
yeah,
like a robot
definitely.
or a scenery or a ship like one of the Quimjets flying or something. Yeah, it works. It works nice
So
as a on metal and stuff.
yeah, we're big fans of practical movies like The Thing,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
you
absolutely.
you see The Thing and how good it looks, and then you watch the 2011 reboot where they did it mainly with CGI, and you just think, why have you done this?
Well, they didn't. This is the thing. They built.
Yeah,
If you
yeah, they did. Yeah, yeah,
seen them
you're right, aren't
puppets,
you?
what they built, they were dope as shit. I remember I seen some of that making of stuff, and I'm like, fuck, that looks incredible. When I watched it in the cinema, I thought it was all CG, and they just like painted so much shit over it that there were no point even building any puppets. You'd be so pissed off if you spent months working on that dope shit, like all this innovative new technology for animatronics and puppets, and then they fuck it up by putting CG over. I mean, I think nowadays, like Baby Yoda's like a testament to how much people will buzz off a good fucking puppet.
Yeah,
When Rob Bottin did the thing, he was like fucking 20, 19 or some shit like that, and he didn't do all the effects. Stan Winston did a few and shit, but he like was smashing it, heating up bubble gum in a microwave and making it pop and all sorts of crazy effects and shit, and they stand up better now. You could show that to anyone, and any kind of movie fan, you say which one makes you feel. You just film the reaction, and you'll see the new thing, and you're like, all right, and then you see the old one, it's like, oh fucking hell, when his hands punch into his chest and shit. It's fucking sick,
yeah,
man. It'll hold up forever, and I think Baby Yoda's definitely a testament to that, because this Mandalorian show, it does feel very practical, and there is a lot of practical shit. Like there's a and I think Star Wars has always been good for that. Not the prequels, because they were like what, playing a video game, but
yeah,
Star Wars in general, and then the new ones, they'll have a lot of stuff that you'd only get away with in Star Wars. A ropey looking puppet, you don't mind. I'd rather see a ropey looking puppet than something real. I'd rather see a dude with a mask on, that the mask has barely any movement, but it's still a cool mask, rather than some big CGI character that I can see straight through. And I think Mandalorian's definitely got that balance perfect.
yeah, definitely. And yeah, it's very distracting when you can tell that it's not really there. Whereas with a puppet, you can tell it's there in the scene with them.
Mm,
Whereas
mm. And
something's
I
just
love Baby Yoda. I'd die for Baby Yoda. Me, I fucking love that
laid
thing.
down my life.
He's so he's so sick, that little puppet. And one of the good things that's, it's not even a silver lining. It's just the fact that they've already filmed. I think all of season 2. It's not
Yeah,
it's not edited and shit, but they have at least filmed it, so there can be people sat at home editing it remotely and things like that. As far as I'm aware, so
yeah.
we will still get that this year. That I think same with Winter Soldier and shit. Have they all been filmed?
No, they had to stop. And
Captain America, Winter
yeah,
Soldier, sorry, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and WandaVision and all that. So
yeah,
they'd stopped production. They were midway through.
yeah, because that was meant to come out in August, but I don't think it is anymore. And I'm sure they
Oh,
had a plot about a pandemic, and they've had to just for the way
fuck.
things are, they're gonna have
Yeah,
to probably
Disney will
take that
want it.
out. Yeah,
They'll do that. Well, the thing is, like, I subscribed to like a year of Disney Plus,
I
and
did
I've
as well.
rinsed it all
Yeah,
already. And
yeah,
I'm like, oh, I got it because I know what Marvel and that were dropping now. I've got like a year's subscription, because all them X-Men and Spider Man and shit cartoons, like I like to have them, all the '90s cartoons. I've got them all already though on DVD. I spent years collecting them all, so
yeah,
now they're all on there. It's nice to be able to, like, all Gargoyles and that I've got. I like to have them there, access to. But I'm not just gonna sit and watch all Gargoyles anytime soon. There's other shit I've not seen yet. Like, I just like to have that on in background.
yeah,
So yeah, it's a point where I sign up for a year for this shit, and then all for the stuff I'm looking forward to might not even drop yet. But it's worth it for Mandalorian. I'd pay all that money just to watch Mandalorian, so it's
yeah,
worth it.
yeah. And I was like debating, how they had the early promotional offer, and it was like 49.99. I was like, I doubt I'll just do it month to month. And then as soon as it dropped, I was like, oh, I'll get the year subscription, and it was
Yeah.
59.99. I was like, I'll just get it anyway. Um, and I sold all my Star Wars Blu-rays and stuff, so it paid for itself in a way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's one of them as well. Like, when they announced that this Disney Plus were coming, when you look at the stuff that they actually own through Fox, like they own Alien, Predator, Hellraiser, loads
Yeah,
of random shit. So you're a bit like, oh yeah, man, it's gonna literally have everything. When you look on, I don't know if it's the fact that they just haven't put it all up yet, or they're trying to keep it child friendly for now, whatever. But like, these, I think the only R-rated film on there is Deadpool on there and Logan. Are they on
no,
there?
no.
So
The
there is
Wolverine
nothing
is, I
like that.
think. I think that's about as gory as it gets.
Yeah, yeah. It's
But
not
yeah,
gory though, is it, Wolverine?
it's
So it's.
well, when they're editing out the butt on in Splash and stuff, I can't see us
Oh,
getting
really?
any.
Did they do that?
Yeah, so there's a bit where Daryl Hannah dives into
Yeah.
the sea, and they've made her hair longer with CGI
Have they really?
just to
Fuck, man.
cover
Yeah,
her
so
butt
it's
up.
fully child friendly. Do you think that's the thing with Disney, in it? Like, they're so PC that it's like, yeah, so all this back catalogue of stuff, are they going to have like an adult version that we pay more for? Are they going to have like a code you can put in? 'Cause on Netflix, you can have Netflix and you can have Netflix Kids, can't you? So
Yeah,
like, it gets rid of all the training day and shit like that that's on there, so kids can't watch it. But yeah, that is a bit fucked, because when it dropped, the amount of stuff I was looking at, like, yo, their back catalogue's like insane. But when I've looked on that, it's literally like Swift Family Robinson, Toy Story,
yeah,
and I'm like, I don't want any of this shit. Like, I want. I mean, I like having all the Marvel on there, but I'll rinse them Marvel watching
yeah,
them all back in a month.
yeah. I've got them all on Blu-ray, well, 4K, and so I don't
Yeah, yeah.
really. Yeah, it's
Well,
kind
the
of.
thing is, and all, I always like to buy physical media. I mean,
Yeah, I do as
I
well.
again, I release my film digitally, but that's only because to do it in physical media it would cost more to get it, approved by the BBFC. To get it approved by
Yeah,
that would cost probably as much as the film cost to make. So I'll
yeah,
put it out digitally. I don't mind that. It's of no reflection of my skill. I just wanted to make a film, and I made most of it years ago, and it is what it is. So I don't want to sound like, oh well, you put your fucking film out digitally. But when it comes to physical media, I don't think nothing compares. It's not just because I like to hold a DVD in my hand because I've got tons of shit I can hold in my hand. I've been a collector all my life. But I like the commentaries, I like the extras and shit like that. And I
yeah,
think they've got a bit of that on Disney Plus, but they haven't got it all.
yeah. I'm exactly the same. I much prefer physical, and the basically I bought a 4K Fire Stick because Disney Plus has got everything in 4K with Dolby Vision as well. So I got a
Right.
Fire Stick to watch all the stuff in 4K with Dolby Vision on, and the signal in my room where I tend to watch my stuff, it can stream 4K, but it's a bit hit and miss. Whereas if I put the Marvel my 4K collection on that, it's just 4K throughout the entire thing, and whereas you stream and it's kind of hit and miss. And I'm like a graphics whore. The better the picture, the I don't care how much it costs. I'll pay
Yeah,
extra
for
for it.
new shit, I find when you watch some old stuff on that 4K, it's too clear. But definitely for the new stuff, when I watch Endgame or Godzilla Kong and shit, I want it to feel like I can fucking smell the Winter Soldier's hair.
Yeah,
I want it to be that fucking clear on my screen.
yeah. So streaming, I'm still kind of it's not it's hit and miss for me. So I'd still do prefer physical.
Well, the thing is, if the internet went down tomorrow, which at any point it could, because when it comes to like key workers and stuff, and everyone's
Yeah,
like, "Oh yeah, key workers," like they don't think about the dudes that sat at home hammering away. Slacky was saying this to me the other day. Is like the people that have to sit and make the internet servers works while we're all hammering Netflix and PS4 and shit like that. They don't think about those guys that have to literally keep them servers going all the time. So
yeah,
at any point, if them servers go down, which they could, then that's all that shit that you're paying for that you've got on there. You can't watch anyway. I've had a couple of times when internet's gone down for whatever reason in my area, and I've not been able to watch Netflix, and then I look and I've got a fucking 2,000 DVDs.
yeah,
It's just such an effort to pick it up and
yeah.
put it in the player and press fucking play.
And the picture's better as well on it, though. The picture's still better on physical media. There's a lot of stuff that
A
gets
lot of the time it
compressed.
is.
Yeah,
Do you know as well? I find that we live in a culture now where everything's so throwaway through streaming and through YouTube. Like
yeah,
back in the day, if we wanted a song, unless you went and actually found the CD in a shop, or you'd have to download it off LimeWire, and it'd take 10 minutes to get like one Eminem song. So
hmm,
we still come from an era where we bridged the gap between physical media to digital. Like we're the only generation that's done that. But we still had to wait for stuff. So if you took 10 minutes to download a song, you'd sit and proper listen to the song.
yeah,
Now you'll put everything's so throwaway and disposable, and it's so accessible that people don't really take it in like that. Like you'll notice it if you ever watch a film with someone. Like if you went to the cinema, you're not going to sit there on your phone. But
yeah,
someone could come around and you're like, "Yo, let's watch this new film that's come out." They'll sit on the phone and watch it because they know at any point they can. "Oh, I'll just watch it when I get in, or it's on Netflix. I can watch it anytime." Subliminally, there's just something telling them that like there's no urgency there. I think that's why Snapchat is such a big fucking app. I don't like it, but like people are mad for Snapchat because it's gone within a day in it. So like you've got to be there, you got to see it. A bit like the spoilers with the Avengers, you don't want it ruined for you.
yeah,
And so I feel like if you go to a cinema, watch a film, or you rent a movie like we used to back in the day, or even if you just go to your DVD shelf, get one off and put it in, because you've had to subliminally take the time to choose the DVD, put it in, press play, you're more invested than if you just press play on Netflix because you can just pause it at any time. We from a generation where if you're watching something on TV, like you're good at the toilet quick at the break, and your mum's like, "Quick, it's coming back on," and you got to run downstairs and quickly watch so you don't miss like the first 30 seconds of the show you're watching. But that's just not a thing anymore. You can just rewind, pause, and anything's just so accessible.
yeah. And I think a lot of it's disposable because there's so much of it as well. I mean, there's so many seasons that on Netflix that you'll binge in the weekend, and then you'll forget about it the week after because there's another series, and you'll never revisit it. And it's a real shame because there's not the time to digest content. Like, so I do when I'm in TV, I basically do two types of videos. I do either episode breakdown week by week, which is what I'm doing with Westworld, or Netflix will drop something and they'll release the entire season in a day, and I'll have to binge the entire season to do a video. And it's so much more enjoyable doing it week by week.
Of course it is.
Like Westworld, there's so many different theories you can come from it, and you're having to sit and digest it and think about what could be going on, and you really get the time to to go through everything in your mind. Whereas if it's all there in a day, you know you're not speculating anything. All the answers are laid out for you, and it just kind of strips you from the experience. I feel now Netflix do weekly releases from time to time, like Star Trek Discovery's weekly, Better Call Saul is, and I find that
Yeah,
much
they do.
more
Yeah,
enjoyable. Just getting that cliffhanger and thinking, oh no, what's going to happen next week?
yeah.
Whereas,
You got a week to digest it. Yeah.
yeah, there's no cliffhangers if you drop the entire season in a day.
Yeah, Stranger Things and shit. But I even think, do you know what? Just going back to Mandalorian, I know I keep going back to it, but I think that's like a pivotal thing right now. I always wanted when I was watching these TV shows, Daredevil and Punisher and shit like that, that it wasn't just one continuous story for 3 seasons. It was when you watch Mandalorian, each episode's like a little graphic. It's like a little comic in
Yeah,
itself. All right, this week is on this ice planet. Now he's in a jungle. Now he's in a desert. And he's interacting with different people. And you could say, or what's your favorite Mandalorian episode? You'll go, oh, season 1, episode 3, my favorite episode. But if you said like, what's your favorite Stranger Things episode? It's like, well, they all just kind of blur into one big thing. The whole,
yeah,
all of it. Do you know what I
definitely,
mean?
yeah.
And hopefully Mandalorian now will like set the bar for, yo, you can do this. When you're watching something like Westworld, like Game of Thrones, it is one big storyline. It has to be like that. But I feel like when you're watching Daredevil, they could have easily done that like the old Hulk TV show, where every week he's against a different, like you've got Kingpin as your overarching nemesis, but every couple episodes he sends a new guy after him, as a new hitman, rah rah rah. And you can get just, I feel that like, if you said to someone, who's the bad guy in Daredevil season 3, they're gonna be like, who is it now? But you could say, who's the guy in episode 3 of Mando? Oh, fuck me, this guy's dope. I've only seen him in 2 episodes, and I love him. He's sick. He could write a whole fucking movie about him. So I don't even feel like it's where you've got to build a character up over 6 seasons. I really don't think you have like that. Ugnaught, Ugnaught is in 2 episodes, and you love him.
Yeah,
IG. Love him. Do you know what I mean? The fucking John Favreau Mandalorian dude with a minigun that barely says anything. You're like, he's sick. I'd watch a whole fucking series about him.
yeah,
So it's just about how you portray the characters, and I'm hoping that like well, I know for a fact these Winter Soldier and that they seem like they're going to be a lot more like the Mando. Do you know, like he's one overarching story, but all right, this week this guy we've got to go and fight him. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to go and stop this boat from being sieged or whatever.
yeah. I hope so. Yeah, because it feels like more of an experience. And if they really Disney Plus are releasing things weekly as well, so you know it's lasting longer. You're getting months and months of the Mandalorian week by week, and and excited about it. Like I'm sure you were the same as me when the Mandalorian new episode dropped. You flew over to America and watched it live as quickly as you could over there, and that's exciting. Whereas I think so your experience of the Mandalorian took place over 2 months, whereas your experience of Daredevil probably took place over a day.
Day and
And
a half, yeah. Same
yeah,
with Stranger Things, and I love that show, but like literally, I'll sit there and watch it all in a day. And by the time you get to like the 8th episode, you're like, where are we now? Is this episode 5 or 9? I don't know. It's all just blurring into one big thing now. And I suppose again for Stranger Things, it does kind of work. It's like one overarching thing, but I'd always prefer to see something that's like 4 episodes. If it's like that kind of thing, I'd have way preferred it if they were all like the Defenders, and even that seemed a bit too long. Where it's like, yeah, just give me 4 episodes, put all the budget into 4 hours,
yeah,
into 4 hour episodes, and I'll prefer it way more than 18 episodes, because you do just get to a point where you're just like, I don't even know which episode I'm on now. What's happening? They've been in this car park 9 times already, and it just feels like it's a bit Groundhog Day. When Punisher season 2 dropped, the first couple episodes were a bit like it was in a different little gas station or little,
yeah,
like a road movie, weren't it? Or in a different thing every week. And I
yeah,
do feel like, I thought, oh yeah, man, maybe they're doing that. Maybe they're doing that like the Hulk thing, the like Kung Fu and shit. Where Knight Rider, A-Team, all these, every episode did be in a different town, dealing with a different thing. And that's what it felt like with Punisher. But I think after like season 4, it just went, oh yeah, it's back to normal Punisher.
yeah. And you can build characters by doing that, by putting them in different scenarios and stuff. Whereas if you keep it all in one storyline, they do grow. But like the Incredible Hulk, it was what was his name? His name was different in that, wasn't it? It was Bruce Banner
David Banner.
normally, David Banner, yeah, because they thought Bruce sounded too
A lot
gay.
of people argue with you blue in the face. It's David Banner. I used to watch it every week. It's David Banner. Like, but yeah, they changed. I don't know why they changed it,
It's
but they
because
did.
they thought Bruce sounded gay. That's
Is that
literally
what they
the
said?
reason, yeah. They said at the time they just thought Bruce was a gay sounding name. So,
Really? Never
yeah,
get away with that now.
no, definitely not. So he would you'd see him grow as he went from town to town, whereas if they just kept it in the same town, he probably would have still grown, but not as much. And you really got the feeling over time that this guy just wasn't going to fit in everywhere because every time he'd go to a new town, he'd try to keep his head down. Then some dickhead would come over, try and start a fight with him, and he'd be like, "Look, don't make me angry. But you shut the, I'll kick the shit out of you." And they'd kick the shit out of him, and then he'd tilt his head back. You'd see his eyes go green, and shit would
Yeah,
be
you're like,
on. And then
yes.
you'd
There
be
was
like,
another one
"Oh,
that come out. I fucking forget what it's called. It might be called the werewolf or full moon, but it's like a similar thing where a dude who's a werewolf. He has like a pentagram in his hand. This is from like the early 80s. That was another one. It was all like that back in the day. Do you know, like moving forward now? Do you know all this stuff? I mean, it makes me at a point now where unless something is strictly Marvel, 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 which everything is now, like you don't even really want to invest in it. People are saying, "Oh, you watch Cloak and Dagger." I'm like, yeah, but it's not Marvel, is it? If, as much as it's based on the Marvel series, and don't get me wrong, in the Endgame comic, the original Infinity War comic, they were like a big part of it, Cloak and Dagger. But like, I'm not gonna invest in 2 or 3 seasons of a show if it don't go anywhere. Because that's why I liked these Marvel comics. I liked them because every comic was a different story, and they all used to meet up and interlink, and then you'd have your big crossover one at the end.
yeah," which is what the movies feel
They
like.
do, they do. That's why I like them. They feel like an episode, and if one film is a bit weaker than the other, then it don't matter to me because it's just like saying, "Oh well, episode 4 is weaker than episode 6 of Game of Thrones season 2." Like, I don't mind if one's a bit weaker. They can't all be fucking epic. But I feel that like so all this Netflix stuff now, which I invested so much time into. Just do Disney own that now? You'll know this more than anyone I speak to. What's the deal with that now? Because I keep hearing rumors like, oh, Matt Murdock might turn up in Spider Man.
Yeah, they own it now. I think I don't know if they have I think they've got the rights to Daredevil this November. But the other characters are kind of still in limbo, but they will get released. So there are rumors that Daredevil might be appearing in the next Spider-Man movie, but you don't
As
know.
his
You
lawyer, because
honestly don't
the
know
thing
for.
is they're pushing Shield as well at minute, aren't they? So you don't know if it's like, oh, it makes more sense to have Shield because his lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just see. That I think that Marvel would be stupid if they didn't use their characters in the films because that's what everyone really wanted to see, especially in the Netflix stuff. It was like, they would mention Captain America, but it wasn't. You kind of got that feeling in the back of your head. Well, they're just mentioning this. This isn't really connected.
Well, in the Netflix one where they talk about they mention Hulk and shit like that, but you never actually see him. And he's like, who's bigger? You or the green guy? And he doesn't even say Hulk. I know, yeah.
Yeah,
And they were always, I mean, fuck it. If I were watching if I were watching Endgame and Daredevil was there, I would fucking cry. I would cry. I cried anyway, but I'll cry even more if because it's like,
yeah,
yes, it's all one. They all live in the same universe, just as they should. I hopefully they will get to that point. And if they do bring Punisher into it and stuff like that, it doesn't need to be R-rated and they'll kill it anyway. John Berthnell is the best Punisher ever. Like that guy playing most things is he's just a force. That he was born to play the Punisher. So I'd hate him to be like, oh yeah, we've got the rights to Punisher, but we're gonna go with a different actor on this one. But what's also nice is they've done when they brought J. Jonah Jameson into Spider-Man. I'm dropping spoilers like fuck, but these shit's been out a year. But when he turns up in End of Far From Home, J. Jonah Jameson, like when I saw that, I was like, fuck, because that changed everything at that point, didn't it? It's like, yeah, you can
yeah,
use the same actor playing the same character, but a different world, but it's the same character, same actor. So they might even go with that kind of thing. I don't know how much of how much they'd have to work in from the TV show or even mention
yeah.
anything. Or I mean, they get to a point now they don't expect a 12-year-old boy watching Avengers with his mum and dad that if Punisher turns up that he's got to have seen all the series for it to make sense why he's there. I think they're past that now, aren't they? They just turned Spider-Man
Yeah,
up out of nowhere. No, he still does not have an origin story in the MCU, does he, Spider-Man? He's just there and everyone
yeah.
accepts it and it makes all the millions of dollars.
Well, Black Panther as well. He just turned up in Civil
Yeah,
War, and that was
just turned
fine.
up, just turned up
Uh,
and you're fine
yeah,
with it.
it's fine.
Yeah.
I think they could have done it maybe with Captain Marvel, but I don't know.
With what? Oh
They're
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to.
Again,
This.
Captain Marvel. I mean, I think they could literally do it. If you can do it with Spider-Man now, you can do it with anyone. But they'll just pick and choose. So all we've got to look forward to that's actually But, I mean, I think Black Widow has been filmed. That's out. That's ready to go into it. They're just holding it back
Yeah,
for obvious reasons. They're not going to drop that on Disney Plus. It just undermine movies if they start just dropping them all on Disney Plus. As much as I would watch it, I'll still prefer to see it in a cinema. Do we know when
yeah.
that one takes place? Is that are they trying to bill it like it's a prequel, but it could actually be a sequel? They just don't want to say that yet because then it spoils what happened to her in
It's
Endgame.
after Civil War.
So it's
It's
after Civil
immediately
War.
after Civil War. Yeah. So I don't know what's gonna happen in it, but I think it's just taking place between Civil War.
It's a shame though, because like, I mean, if the I didn't want her to die. She's a dope character, and I never liked prequel series that much anyway. I think like once you've seen a
Mhm.
character die, it kind of undermines every time you see him again. Because like, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
they're doing all this
agree.
shit. At no point, if anything's ever life threatening to her in that movie, well, we know she don't die because she's fucking in these other films and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah,
and because obviously they've introduced time stones and all this kind of shit now, it's like, well, yeah, because you can just reverse time now and bring someone back. So when does it end? When are they like? They need to kind of write some kind of rule that it's like, yeah, you can't use a time stone willy nilly. You've got like you can use it once a century or something.
yeah, exactly. And they've got time travel now as well, which kind of breaks the universe a bit.
Of course it does, and
So
multiverses. But then again, like when we get to Endgame, like when they are fighting Thanos at the end, that's not the Thanos that they were fighting at the start of the movie. He's from a different timeline with different ideals. So like they've brought Gamora back, but she's Gamora from before Guardians even really started. So she's not
yeah,
done any of
yeah,
them missions, any of that building, all that character we've grown to know. It's not even that character anymore. So it does always feel a bit weird as well.
yeah. It's like Groot, isn't it? Because that Groot isn't. I used to think it was the same Groot, but then Marvel officially said that it's a different Groot.
So it's just grown a grown from the root.
Yeah, so it's like, oh no, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Groot grown from the
Still
root.
got it.
Still got it.
Well, listen, brother, it's been wicked talking. Is there anything else you want to just plug or anything like that before we close this shit down?
Just subscribe my YouTube channel, Heavy Spoilers.
And I guarantee anybody, I'm gonna say it in the intro, but like I guarantee anybody that's gone online and typed in Marvel Easter eggs, whatever, yours is always one of the first videos that come up. Like everyone I speak to, I'm like, oh, do you watch this guy? Yeah, that's my brethren. Because that's my ritual. When I've watched I watch a movie. Once I've seen it, I go online and watch all the spoilers, all the Easter eggs that I've
Yeah.
not clocked, and you're one of the main guys to do that. So yeah, man,
Yeah,
big up.
thank
It's
you,
been
man.
nice chatting. It's been a while. We'll try and
You
do
too.
something like this again, man. I like shooting the shit with like
Yeah, definitely.
people. It's not very often I get to talk Marvel with anyone that's like as into it as me, who like knows this shit like me. My people, they like Marvel, but they're not like they won't fight and die for Marvel like I will.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's been wicked. That's myself, Theo Kane. We've got Paul from the Heavy Spoilers Show, Slimehouse TV, lockdown interviews, and for now we're gone. Boom. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to our channel. You can also follow us on Instagram, and if you want to help make Slimehouse bigger and better than ever, then you can also consider being an absolute legend and subscribing to our Patreon. Once again, thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time on Slimehouse TV.